Talk 96.5 KPEL has been paid for by Integrity Broadcast.
The views expressed in the following show are those of the hosts or hosts only. They do not represent News Talk 96.5 KPEL or Town Square Media.
You're listening to The Josh Guillory Show, your base for truth, common sense, and a good time.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Josh Guillory Show. I am your grateful host, and in studio with me, my main man, Jamie O'Shell.
What's cracking, everybody? It's Monday.
It is a great day. God made today a great day. I promise you. We're
Great day all around, all over the world.
Oh, you ain't kidding. We're broadcasting live from the KPEL studios here in Lafayette, Louisiana. We're also broadcasting live on Rumble. Let us see you over there at Rumble. Rumble.com. You can look up the Josh Guillory Show. You can check us out. You can see us live. You can sign in. You can message us on the chat feature. So we certainly want to see you over there. You can also go to our social media pages, the Josh Guillory Show. You can go to my personal X page at Josh Guillory USA, and you can see us streaming live there. Let's dive right into it. Man. So we reported.
What a weekend!
A great weekend. Great weekend for our country, our world, the world. Great day. Not a great weekend for the Saints or the Cubs. Although the Cubs, I'm going to take that back. To my Chicago Cubs, fellow Chicago Cubs fans. Man, we had a great season. We won the wild card series. We went 5 games. We went toe-to-toe to the last game of the divisional series. Didn't really think we'd be there this year, especially with 2 of our stud pitchers being out. Just reporting on.
Yeah, did better than the Orioles did. Which they were projected to at least make it to
those had high expectations. Man, growing up, I love Cal Ripken Jr. and don't know if we'll ever see something like that again in this day and age.
The third is playing ball now.
Well, he's got a long way to go to that consecutive streak of over 25. I got things like 2,600. It's crazy. Consecutive games in Major League Baseball is just wild.
You know something I'll tell you is that whoever the next president is going to have some major and going to have to come up with some major initiatives to top what's been going on in the first year of this president.
You ain't kidding. Let's dive on to that. Okay, so Friday we talked about the hostage situation, the war over there. 2 years, October 7th, the other day, just over that anniversary. President Trump heats up the situation, and by heating up, he just clarifies, like, this is not acceptable. That is, being the leader that you want the leader of the free world to be, not some receptive, reactive paperclip holding up dust. All right? Or vice versa. I don't know. Anywho, so President Trump over the weekend declared what he called the golden age of the Middle East. And the reason why, on top of many things, is not only did we, like past Friday, we left Friday's episode saying, we think this is a great deal. We don't know because we don't know if Hamas is going to come through with the deal. Well, we find out, yes, they do. They delivered all the living hostages. My understanding is the remains of the dead.
Four
bodies. Four remains.
Hamas. You gotta say it with. Hamas.
I thought you said it was a hummus.
Oh no, hummus is served with peanut butter. It's delicious, by the way. I like that roasted garlic.
So Yeah, but President Trump, I think, look, he's always branding.
Golden age of the Middle East.
Look, I don't know if it's the golden age, but I'll tell you this. It certainly is a step towards peace. Now, just like we mentioned Friday, let's have reasonable expectations here. A caller called in Friday and mentioned, well, this might be 5 to 7 years. You're probably right, and that's okay, by the way. That's okay. So that just means we got to stay on top of our game. Jamie mentioned the next president will have a high bar to set with as it relates to accomplishments. That's absolutely true. But the next president, which is some time, we're not even past the first year. But the next president also has an opportunity, and that would be to continue these wins. And this is not a Republican-Democrat win. It is a Republican that achieved it. But this should be something that, even if the next president is a Democrat, this should be one of those issues that carry forward. I hope it's not, but rhinos do this, guys. I'm telling you, rhinos do it more than Democrats. If it's their predecessor's name on anything, no matter how good the project is, how good the program is, how good the initiative is or the policy is, if it has their predecessor on it, they're canceled. And that's definitely big in Louisiana politics too. It's horrible. It's something I don't subscribe to. Jamie doesn't subscribe to. Most of people, you guys on our wonderful audience wouldn't handle it like that. If you got to win, you take it. You take the win for the folks, man.
What am I not subscribing to?
Well, we'll come back to it. You just say yes. No, I'm kidding.
I agree.
He agreed. No, he does agree. But I'm saying all of this because the next president may be a Democrat, and I would hope they wouldn't do a 180 on this purely because it was Trump. Now I'm hoping not. And I think these are the kind of things that are bigger than politics. I know they are. It's whether we choose to collectively view it that way. We'll see. But during a summit in Sharm, in Egypt, I'm not going to try to pronounce that. So in Egypt, this was the other day. It was surrounded by leaders from Qatar, Turkey, Egypt, and Israel. Trump celebrated the ceasefire between the two, Israel and Hamas. A deal that has ended. Over 2 years, man. Over 2 years of war. Freed all the living hostages. Released all the surviving hostages. That's great. Looking to return the remains of the remaining. Trump thanked Israel for their warm welcome as the country rejoiced at the return of the hostages. It was pretty moving. You could see some of the clips. He told lawmakers there it took us 3,000 years to get to this point. Well, I don't know if we solved the problem. Mr. President. I think you did a wonderful job, and I think the president did more than
most.
Yeah, I want to say every president in my lifetime.
Well, I mean,
really, I'm trying to think about it. But it wasn't always. The dynamics weren't always like this, though. The Middle East we see, that's like a 35. I would say 30-year deal. I would say 30. You know what I mean? Maybe early 90s. Maybe when we started to see this. Maybe the fall of the Soviet Union. Maybe that had something to do with it. Maybe just things changed. You know,
but you had that significant moment with Yasser Arafat. When they signed that deal.
Yeah, that was a big one.
But that wasn't a long term. I mean, obviously, it wasn't a long-term peace deal, and it didn't really solve the problems. Now, whether this one does or not remains to be seen. But it's the most promising, I'd say. The most promising. When you get all of the Abraham Accords kind of laid Abraham, as the president likes to say. Abraham. Some people say Abraham. It laid the foundation, brought the initial countries. But if you see all those countries that were up there with him today, it was nothing short. It was nothing short.
I said over the weekend. Look, I agree. Echo what you said. 3,000 years. Yeah, I think this is one of the bigger ones. I think it's one of the bigger ones. There's a lot of things that are missing in that 3,000 years. I'm getting real deep on it, but that's okay. All right, guys, stick around. We'll be right back. Great time for a break. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show. We're broadcasting live from the KPEL Studios here in Lafayette, Louisiana. Also broadcasting live on Rumble. Let me see over there at Rumble. Quiet today. I want to see. Rumble.com, the Josh Guillory Show. All right, guys, let's continue our discussions here. So President Trump, you know, Friday we talked pretty much the whole show about it. Really, we were optimistic. We were real hopeful. We're very honest about it. We didn't know how it was going to play off. We had 72 hours at the time. Turns out we thankfully get to come here Monday and report to you, our dear, wonderful audience, that the hostages, all living hostages, have been returned. And that, what a wonderful sight. So President Trump goes over with in Egypt, with Israel, representatives from Hamas, a lot of people. We're highlighting a few, but like Jamie said, if you see that backdrop, it's pretty impressive. Such a coalition of peace that got this done. Strength, that's for sure. So President Trump told lawmakers there, he said, it took us 3,000 years to get to this point. He called this peace, calling this particular piece, the first step towards something bigger. And that was responsible in his words. And it's true. Because this is a first step. This is not the end all be all. This does not. It's actually phase one. And it does not solve the problem. I don't know if the problem can ever be solved outside of true understanding and we got to put down a lot of hate. But what we can do as leaders of the free world is not be pansies about it. And do what this guy's doing. And making sure there's peace. Not just talking about it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to do another little resolution. Let's go to the UN and talk about things. We're going to talk about things. We're going to talk. We want doers. And that's what this guy's doing. So this is a huge step towards peace. And it may buy us a few years. And that's okay. It's what we do with the time that counts. I believe this president will have a good hold on it. I believe his administration, because foreign policy is important to this administration. They understand the importance of short-term, long-term wins from a military standpoint and from an economic standpoint. Commerce. On the world stage, they get that. Trump's administration's much more worried about our economy and keeping us safe than they are about identity politics and what pronoun you call yourself. But he also urged leaders to put the old feuds and bitter hatreds behind us. He says some things sometimes that the media takes and they just run with it because it is a little out there. I get it. But man, if we could, that's such a small portion of what this guy does. And the statements that he makes, this is the president of the United States after following some bowing up pretty serious. Like shooting that drug boat off of the coast of South America. That was way more than combating drugs coming into our country illegally. That was the easiest message that Trump could show. I'm not playing with you. Seriously. I don't want to go here. But I don't got nothing to lose. I'm on my second term. And I'm going to end this thing right. I just think that they know who they're dealing with. Or maybe they don't know who they're dealing with, and that might be the art of war right there. Maybe that's the case. Maybe he always has them guessing. I think he's been pretty straightforward. Peace, or are you going to have a problem? Peace, or are you going to have an issue? Just like with trade. Stop screwing us, or you're going to have an issue. You're making it so hard to do business here. Actually, we have let that happen, but that's okay. So, y'all want to do business? Stop screwing us. Then you won't have any problem. So it's pretty straightforward. Trump said after two harrowing years in darkness and captivity, 20 courageous hostages are returning to the glorious embrace of their families. End quote. He honored earlier 28 others that didn't make it back. Their remains will finally come home at some point to Israel for burial. Like Jamie said, there's four so far. They're working it out. Trump called it the end of an age of terror and death. I hope so. I mean, I get what he's saying in this context. Yes. With Hamas and stuff, this is going to buy some time. I just don't be fooled into complacency. And that's I don't think Trump's, and I don't think Pete Hegseth. I don't think the Department of War is going to have a problem with what I'm saying. I think we'll be all right, okay? And I think the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, like those are the president's top two right there. You got the Secretary of State, absolutely the right-hand person. And then you have the Secretary of War. Those are your top two. So you got like peace and civilian stuff. And then if that doesn't work, we're bringing in the Department of War. Maybe simultaneously. But those two have to be lockstep. They have to have the same philosophy. Even in the same administration. Go look at other presidents where there's been a disconnect between those two entities. Look at the first cabinet. That'll tell you everything. Now, we're different than 1789. I get it. But it's a different system, too. Not much, though. Not much. But I'm just saying. Just throwing it out there. Trump's made headlines for publicly urging Israel's president to pardon. Not Israel. To pardon Netanyahu. Drawing a standing ovation. You saw that?
Yeah, he was actually, I think, supposed to be in court tomorrow.
Yeah, he was indicted. Years ago. On charges he's long denied. By the way, many Israelis now see Trump as the man who helped restore peace and stability. I think that's going to help jump us to the next phase.
As far as his legal issues, I mean, if he did something wrong, he did something wrong.
To what? To what court? What court? The ICC?
No. I'm talking about actual Israeli courts. There were shady dealings in the government.
They'll handle it. But I'm talking, and that's where the pardon comes. I thought you were going somewhere else because I've heard this so many times about. Remember, he was
the
whatever.
ICC, International Criminal Court.
Okay. Y'all want to talk about violations of human dignity? Yeah, we want to go to BB. Yeah, we want to ignore China. We want to ignore in the past Venezuela. I don't know about right now. We want to ignore. Like y'all want me to keep going? Like Russia? Y'all think Russia's the beacon of civil liberty? Come on. Oh yeah, BB. Yeah, we're gonna go after him. We're gonna go after him. That's where I thought you were going with that. Yeah, the other stuff it'll work itself out. Yeah, you're right. I mean, look, if he did something within the sovereign system, that's their deal. Trump just gave his opinion. Now, Trump's peace plan continues to unfold, and that's the important thing that we have to realize. We just saw phase one, and it was. I mean, I would argue, guys, probably the most important phase. I don't think the other ones count if we don't have the first. But phase two, now this is the preliminary talks. We know this president. We know this president's style. Very flexible. This is where we're at right now. So we've seen phase one. So phase two includes disarmament of Hamas. Further Israeli withdrawal. Remember, they still have a presence. It just kind of fell back to some secondary lines there, some fallback position, for lack of a better word. But also, phase two has in the works potentially even diplomatic outreach to Iran as part of a broader expansion of the Abraham Accords. Man, that part right there, that's not being talked enough. I hope during phase two, if that continues to be the plan, where we're improving our diplomatic relationship with Iran. That's a big deal. But I'm saying it on a 45,000 foot view. There's a lot of details that would have to go into that. There's a lot of specific concerns that America would have. We know that. Obviously, we know that. So Israel formally declared Trump. This is real. The greatest friend Israel ever had in the White House. Hey! Really though, since 1947, that's not a lot. If you think about it. But that's hey, you know what a compliment. All right, let's look back on this. Let's think. I can't think of it. I mean, you said Clinton. President Clinton had a great relationship with Israel and Arafat. Okay. He made movements at least to get him agreed. Now we have the benefit of being in 2025. Looking back, I don't like those. I think Clinton would have done it differently had he known. But at the time, under the facts of the time, yeah, that was probably the closest to this, but not even close to this. All right, guys, stick around. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show. We're broadcasting live from the KPEL studios here in Lafayette, Louisiana. Also on Rumble.com. Check us out, Rumble.com. Look up the Josh Guillory Show. You will see us there. Jamie, the best time of the whole show, my favorite time. The calls, the phone lines are open. 232-1542, 844-766-6607 outside of the Acadiana area. All right, let's see here. Let that build up for a little bit. I want to switch gears. So to follow up with all the things going on in Israel, we got some movement. Vice President J.D. Vance was telling Fortune's, did an interview. Fortune's Jason Mize reported on it. So the VP, J.D. Vance clarified yesterday that about 200 U.S. troops are being sent to Israel to help manage and monitor the whole Gaza ceasefire deal. Well, actually, the ceasefire. The diplomats do the deal. But there will be no combat mission, no boots on the ground as far as combat goes. So CENTCOM, U.S. Central Command, is creating a, quote, civil-military coordination center. Inside, they're doing all this inside of Israel to actually handle the logistics and security for all those humanitarian efforts that are about to follow, moving into Gaza. So that's pretty important. Those 200 service members will monitor the ceasefire terms. They'll ensure aid is delivered, and they'll coordinate with regional partners, not fight. Fighting starts happening. They are not in that capacity. And this is not uncommon. And this particular mission, as you can imagine, is multinational. And it should be. It's great when we can do that. I mean, think about this. This is a situation in Gaza, in Israel. And we have multi-countries that don't always like Israel, that are helping with this. I mean, look, we're going to see, think about this. We're going to see troops from Egypt, Qatar, Turkey, and the UAE. They're all going to work alongside Americans. Now, as far as entering Gaza, they're not going to enter in Gaza. They're not doing that. That's where they draw the line. But for their presence to be there in a joint mission in Gaza, that's huge. I mean, I think it's huge. That is a coalition of the willing, as President George W. Bush would say. Now Vance, a former Marine, a Marine veteran who served in Iraq. He told NBC's Meet the Press that this deployment supports the peace Trump negotiated. It doesn't restart U.S. military engagement. It doesn't start. I shouldn't say restart. It doesn't start the U.S.'s engagement in military operations, not in Gaza, not in Israel. He reaffirmed, the Vice President that President Trump remains committed to ending forever wars. And this you would have never seen under the previous mindset. You wouldn't have seen this. We were so weak. There was no leading. It was all reactive. No proactive. Not even doing what we said we were going to do. Which is the basic responsibility of an ally. If you think about it. Like when you have like your foundation of like, hey, this is what I should do as an ally. I think you start off with, I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do.
Joey's got a good question. He says, why isn't there any media coverage of all those free Palestine people on the streets and college campuses? They should be cheering and jumping for joy now. Like, where are they? Where are you, Harvard?
Where are you at?
Where are you at, Columbia?
Where are you at, Columbia? That's what we need to see. Columbia.
Why y'all not cheering? Oh.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So the U.S. already maintains 465 peacekeepers in the Sinai Peninsula. Under the 1978 Egypt-Israel Treaty. That's been long standing there. Again, this new operation is far smaller, and really purely logistical. So it is quite different than that, particularly the 1978 treaty I was referencing. Vance also confirmed that President Trump will travel to the Middle East to greet Israeli hostages freed under the ceasefire agreement. Man, What an experience! All sides, both the president, both the hostages, the families. That's gotta be man. He credited the VP credited Trump's non-traditional diplomacy for achieving what decades of global summits could not. And think about what the vice president said. He credited Trump's non-traditional diplomacy. And that's sad that it's non-traditional. Because if you think about it, and that's why I asked, or I made that comment, like, yeah, I think Trump's been the most successful in my lifetime, but I think he's been the most successful when it comes to Israel since the inception. Because it's kind of hard to argue that the guys that founded it in 1947 didn't have Israel's best interest. They brought it back to sovereignty from a legal standpoint.
The thing they always say, if you always do what you always did, you'll always get what you always got. So y'all really wanted Trump to come in and do the same thing that Biden did. He could have done what Obama did, just give money to the Iranians. I mean,
Obama did worse than Biden did in that regard.
We kind of need outside the box after the last, 4 years that we've been dealing with crazy.
But think about it. The only thing different here, the non-traditional, is just peace through strength. Meaning we are saying you can't do this. And we're saying we're going to do this. If you do this or don't do this, and I'm going to back it up. And if you need a little help, here's a drug boat after. I mean, no, not trying to celebrate loss of life, but I'm just saying that the guy's not playing and they know it. Look at the tariffs. Hey, those tariffs hit these sovereign countries way more than any blood. Yeah, way more than any. I'm just saying from their perspective. Okay. So like they know this guy's not playing. They know he's not playing. So the only other president that I can think of is Reagan in regards to the way we have foreign policy, not necessarily with Israel, because things were different back then. The climate, the situation, circumstances were different in the 80s than they are now. Not terribly different, but they were different. And the threats were different, and the threats around the world were different. We know all that. But the philosophy of building a strong military and being smart with it, but having you can't fake this stuff. I said this before. When dealing on the world stage, some of these guys are savages. And when they look across that table, they gotta be able to see a little crazy in your eye. Like, yeah, you'll go there. Yes. If they don't know that, this is going to sound so horrible. But if these evil dictators that only respect strength, if they don't think the president of the United States will meet their barbarianism. I know. Look, it's going to sound horrible. It's going to sound horrible what I'm saying, guys, but I'm telling you the reality. If they think that they're dealing with someone weaker than them, they're going to walk all over us. And they've done that. Several administrations, not just Democrat administrations. Now, what I'm saying may hurt people's ears. If you identify as woke, I apologize. I did not give my woke disclaimer. That your little ears may hurt from reality, harsh realities. But there are evil people out there, man. And I'm telling you, this peace through strength. I've only seen one other president. You can't argue W. He got us into an endless war. Okay, now you can judge him for what he wanted, whatever. I thought his response to Al Qaeda was solid. I thought the staying in Afghanistan forever, rebuilding something that was, well, we could talk about that another day. But regardless, as far as like peace through strength and it working, there's only been two. Different enemies. One was the Cold War, one was the Soviet Union. This is radical Islamic terrorists. Okay? Different evil, same evil, different entities. But the Soviet Union knew Reagan was not going to stop. He was not going to stop economically. He was not going to stop militarily. He wasn't going to stop. He was on a mission. Trump's not going to stop. Trump loves to win so much. It may not even be about us. But this dude wants to win so much and knows how to win. But he doesn't forget who he represents. And that's the entire country. But we haven't had this philosophy in the White House since I don't know. I think it was there in 1947. Truman had a backbone. I mean, the guy dropped 2 nuclear bombs. Didn't even know anything about them. He's like, wait a minute. I got this bomb and I can end this crap right now? And how... Now, this is my understanding. All the historians call and tell me where I'm wrong here if I'm not. So I will always disclose if I feel like I don't know. And I don't know, but I think I'm right on this. The level of casualties it would have taken to invade Japan, I want to say it was like 500,000. You know, it's crazy. And Truman had to make a decision. Am I going to kill, am I going to let Americans, who's dying? That's what he had to make a choice on. Who's dying? Is it the people in Japan or is it Americans? And he chose the people of Japan. That may sound so hard. Oh, he's an evil person. That was the reality. This is what we ask these people to do when we put them in the White House. So it's not all cupcakes. We're not all the Western world that we deal with. And I'm just telling you some truths that I know personally. And when I don't know, that I tell you I don't know. And I don't know more than I do know. So let's say that. All right, let's take us a tiny little break. Woo! I could have went on through that one, Jamie. All right, guys. Stick around. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show. We're broadcasting live from the KPEL studios here in Acadiana. Also broadcasting live on Rumble. And I want to see you over there. Rumble.com. Go check out the Josh Guillory Show. All right, so we're talking about the Middle East some more. We're talking about the peace deal with Hamas, the terrorist group, and
Hamas
and Israel. So Israel, the Hamas has agreed and has delivered. That's the big thing. So the big news Friday was there was a peace agreement. We all kind of held our breath because they had 72 hours. We really didn't know if Hamas was going to carry through with it. But they did, and this is fantastic. I think they know that they're dealing with two leaders. That's Netanyahu and Trump. And more specifically, they're dealing with Netanyahu, who has the backing of Trump. And I'll even go more specific. They're dealing with Netanyahu, who is dealing with a president that won't stop him. That's the best way to say it. And they know that. And peace through strength. All right, so cool. So 20 hostages, the living hostages, have been returned. That is something to celebrate. If we don't do anything else, if this deal blows up right now, at least that was accomplished. And that is huge, man. Look at our history. Look at the United States' dealings with hostages. Notice the difference between Democrat presidents and Republican presidents. I'm just speaking facts. If you got something that disputes that, call in, 232-1542. Happy to hear it. But I am very pumped about this, and I think we all should be. I think we should all be happy for our country and our allies and the world. So again, just to kind of put in perspective, we already have 465 peacekeepers in the Sinai Peninsula. That's and again, remember, that's due to that treaty that I was saying, the 1978 Egypt-Israel treaty. Okay, this new operation, way smaller than that. And I like the fact that J.D. Vance, he tells us this is difference between foreign policy, basically, that wins and foreign policy that wanders. And that's like the tale of two administrations. I'm not trying to go back in the past, but it's so important to know the contrasting differences that our country was in on a very significant issue. But Trump isn't sending an army over to Israel. He's sending oversight. That's a big difference, I think we should all note. He's sending troops to coordinate, to assure, give some assurances, all within America's best interests, especially in a foreign diplomatic scale. And on scale, think about this. The scale of the mission says everything. 200 people, not 20,000. We're not sending a division. We're sending barely over a company of light infantry. They're not light infantry troops. I shouldn't stop that. Personnel-wise. They may be light infantry, I don't know, but they're not going in there to conduct.
Probably all intel folks.
Yeah, I would imagine. As it should be. It should be. That MOS calls for that.
They got a purpose.
Big time. Well, I'm a Cavalry Scout. I love intel. I love S2 shops, but
I worked in many of them.
So J.D. Vance, he understands this perfectly, guys, because he lived it. He's a Marine who saw what happens when Washington politicians use the military as a social experiment or a long-term babysitter for bad regimes. He gets it. This isn't that. This is a peace through strength managed with precision thing. And I thought the vice president explained himself very well to ABC and other interviews he did over the weekend. But America's presence, it is symbolic. It's a stabilizer. When the United States, think about it, when we show up with a handful of disciplined professionals at the nerve center, it reminds the world. It reminds the world that peace can hold because the adults are in charge again. Trump's plan forces every country involved, including the terrorists over there at Hamas, to keep their word or face the consequences. And that's what we're seeing. So I appreciate that by the president. I hope everybody does. And I hope you stick around for hour number 2. We're going to switch topics, and man, we're going to have some fun. Don't go anywhere.
And traffic this hour brought to you by Glenn's Towing and Recovery, 989-0510, 989 a nickel and a dime. Right now we got a minor accident, Pinhook Road at Amar. We've got a residential fire, Delano Street at Fitzgerald. We've got a hit and run, Camellia Boulevard at Vero. We've got another minor accident, Ambassador Caffrey at Broadmoor, and a major accident, the 400 block of West Willow Street. I believe that's going to be near its intersection with Ambassador Caffrey Parkway, and actually going to be near North Pierce Street. So avoid the area if you can. If you see any issues out there, give us a call, 337-232-1542 on the KPL News hotline, or download the KPL News app for free from your phone's app store and shoot us a text message using that app chat feature. And again, traffic brought to you by Glenn's Towing and Recovery, 989-0510, 989 a nickel and a dime. Stick around. Hour number 2 of the Josh Guillory Show starts right after this.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to hour number 2 of the Josh Guillory Show. We're broadcasting live from the KPEL studios here in Lafayette, Louisiana. We're also broadcasting live from Rumble. I'm starting to see you trickle in there. It's Monday, but it's a great Monday. And look, if you're listening to us, you're probably about to get off of work or maybe go home or something, maybe about to start your day. What a great moment in your life. You'll never get this moment back. So enjoy.
So deep today, man.
I'm telling you, so simple but deep. Think about it. Let's avoid worrying about the future. Let's avoid remorsing over decisions in the past. We have this moment God gives us. What are we going to do with it? We praise him first and then we live.
Life is short.
Hey, no. I'm starting to, yes, you're right. The human flesh life, this temple God gives us, is very temporary. Got it. But once you make that connection to the source, your life is forever through God's grace. So you're just starting. Who knows? We can get real deep. Maybe we're in purgatory now. Whoa!
Oh, wow.
Whoa!
Here we go.
Yes! Oh, the Catholics, call me. The Protestants, call me. I said the P word.
Sometimes it does feel like hell on earth sometimes.
I ain't talking about hell. I'm talking about purgatory.
Well, maybe this is our challenge.
I don't know. I'm not God. I just try to follow. All questions All questions to ask the Creator. Oh, I'm sure he'll enjoy it. Let's see here. Let's go to your boy, man.
What we have here is a president that might be testing us for a few days.
Yeah. So, former President Barack Obama used comedian Mark Maron. How do you pronounce his name?
Mark Maron.
Maron, not Maron. Maron.
Not to be confused with the Mark Maron from UL either.
Different Mark Maron.
That's the Eric Maron. Never mind.
Eric Maron.
Too many of them.
All right. So, former President Obama said during Mark Maron's final podcast episode, he decided to take a swing at President Trump and, in his words, as Jamie said, test a lot of things, actually, but he said America's values. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, let's just keep going. So Obama told Maron that Trump's administration is a test. It's a test for it's a test for universities, corporations, law firms, and voters, including Republicans, to see whether they'll take a stand for the nation's founding principles. Well, Mr. Law Professor, you really want to say that? I'm quoting you. This is you. I didn't. You made this. You said, take a stand for the nation's founding principles. If the nation's founders saw this nation, they would say that we're very far from our founding principles. And President Obama, your actions to grow the federal government and to get states so dependent in the form of Medicaid expansion to the federal government, they would laugh you out the room for saying that, especially such an educated scholar that you are. And the man's smart. I mean, you don't become president of Harvard Law Review for being dumb, but it's what you do with the intelligence that counts. To much who is given, much is expected.
You forgot to tell the folks that I was a community activist.
That's true.
Did some stuff.
I am sorry. I always wanted to know what a community organizer, not an activist.
Oh, that's right. Community.
He's organizing. You
what
better
do they organize?
Yeah, that's what. Hey, pal.
I think they organize in these things you see in Portland and Chicago. Oh, Chicago. Isn't that where he's from?
Man, for real. Golly. It's hard for me to cover some of this stuff because I get so frustrated.
It's a little bit.
It's starting to, it hurts my eyes to read. All right, President Obama warned that voters who supported Trump over issues like inflation could face consequences, claiming Hispanic men frustrated about prices could soon have their sons bearing... It's hard for me to say this.
You're making that up.
No, and now I'm quoting. He said it could soon have their, quote, sons being stopped in L.A. because they look Latino. This is an educated man saying this. But the problem is, you can't blame President Obama here. He's just conditioned too. See, listen, he's conditioned that he can say this crap, okay, in such a vague way, in such an arrogant way, and that the media, and in this case, Mr. Maron, okay, and it's his prerogative, it's his podcast. By all means, do it. By all means, do it. He's not claiming to be a journalist. But anyway, the former president's so used to saying it and people just believing it. And that was fair for the folks, because in 2008, the media looked a lot different than it does now. Technology looks a lot different than now. Not everybody was a reporter back then.
I'm still stuck. I'm still stuck on if you decide not to vote, that's a consequence. You're a Hispanic man. Like, what are you talking? If you're frustrated about inflation and then your son's going to get pulled over, like, man, Obama, what's wrong with you?
Like, come on.
I thought you were still young. I thought you had your faculties.
You're losing your hips. Your hip. you losing your hips.
He's going to lose them soon if he took that vaccine.
Man, look, I'm with you on that. I am so with you on that. And the arrogance. It's like when President Biden said, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. They, like, man, you are...
No, I'm just smart.
Hey, man. So Obama said the country needs to be shaken out of its complacency. Okay.
You put us here.
Okay, yes, you did. And listen, remember, I got to be careful here. I'm just going to say it. People that deceive, they're usually, what does it call it? What is it when you say someone else is doing something, but you're usually doing it? What is that?
I guess gaslighting.
Yeah, gaslighting. Okay, gaslighting. Anyway, that's what he and the Democrat Party do. They get people, they get the American people complacent. They get them so dependent on government, not just the individual now. What President Obama did was get the states. That's a very dangerous thing. They got the states hooked on the federal government now. Give me that money, baby. Medicaid dollars. And others. That's just a bit. Guys, Louisiana, big Republican state. 40% of our population's on Medicaid. How did that happen?
So many Republicans.
How'd that happen? We let it. Now, we had a Democrat governor. I got you that. And a Democrat president. And the only thing missing is them using the National Guard to enforce it. They'll do that next time because we let them. But anyway, so he says that we need to – God, how do you feel about that? We need to be shaking out our complacency. It's because we weren't complacent, thank God, Kamala Harris didn't become our president. Or Biden for a second term. All right, we'll take a little break. We're going to pick this up and so much more when we get back. Stick around. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show. We're broadcasting live from the KPEL studios here in Lafayette, Louisiana. Also live on Rumble.com. Check us out, the Josh Guillory Show. I'm seeing Fox News up there. Obama, Trump is politicizing the military.
Yep, that's the same showing clips from that podcast you've been talking about.
Yeah, he's on the right. Yeah. So,
is he? Is he on the right?
On my screen.
Get it?
I get it. I will say this, though. Whether he's, I don't know, define politicize. I don't know. But I will say that, that we run the risk, guys, when we start using our National Guard in this way. We have to needlessly defend things that we shouldn't have to defend. That's why I say, if you really do need federal people with enforcement, send that are not going to do fighting crime. I mean, if the National Guard is not going to fight crime, they're just there to support, well, then just get those IRS agents. Seriously, I'm not joking. Genuinely, you give them a badge and a gun. So they have to have
furloughed them.
But they have to. Okay, well then don't do the mission. Okay, but what I'm saying is, if you're going for a policy standpoint, if you're going to use federal resources to assist local efforts, we make ourselves vulnerable. Like, it's a needless thing we shouldn't have to address. We have so many wins. Like, I'm trying not to give the Democrats life in the midterms. And the only way those guys have life right now is if we give them life. So, like, one advice, I love the president, and I love what he's doing. If I were blessed to give him advice, I would tell him, stop letting Obama, Biden, and Hillary live in your head rent-free. It's okay if they talk about you. They're not in office. Who cares? And we've seen they have their own record. Hillary Clinton was a senator, a first lady, and secretary of state. She's got her own record. I don't care. I don't think it's terribly great. President Obama, he was the president of the United States and a senator and a community organizer. Great. You have your record. Good. President Biden, same thing. He was in Washington he was there in the founding document we talked about. He wasn't a founding father. He was actually second generation. He was actually, none of y'all are paying attention in this studio.
What is happening? Who's
paying attention in this studio?
Obama?
I said Biden. I said he wasn't a founding father.
He's old enough to be one.
He was second generation. He wasn't. No, he's been in Washington since the second generation.
Yeah.
He's been watched forever. He's the epitome for term limits. Him and Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer.
He was there before they had the normal use of computing devices. Back when they had to use rotary phones.
That is a true statement.
That is a true statement. They had
yeah, that is a true statement.
That's how they made their calls, switchboards.
Yeah. So President Obama, I'm just saying, when he slams the National Guard in Chicago, he doesn't have necessarily, I mean, policy-wise, I think everybody knows where I stand on that, but it makes us have to defend things that we shouldn't have to defend. I think the president is noble in his efforts. I think that he wants to do good. He wants to fight crime, and I think these clowns on the left, instead of fighting him every angle to to protect their constituents, by the way. These are all Democrat-run cities and states. Oh, except Louisiana. Anyway, topic for a different day.
You mean to tell me Louisiana's not?
I don't know any conservative that wants the federal government to come in and do their job. I don't know where that's conservative.
Oh, I thought they was very liberal here. That's why I came.
No. But yeah, so President Obama, he's saying basically Trump's presidency might be the wake-up call America deserves. These guys are arrogant, man. These guys are arrogant. And I'll tell you, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. Again, President, look, sending the National Guard to California, sending to Los Angeles for the riots, sending the National Guard for Chicago, sending the National Guard for Washington, D.C., all of those. Well, D.C. is separate because it's per the charter and all those things, and it's Washington, D.C. Los Angeles in the riots, and Chicago running rampant. And there's other ones, Portland. These are all local issues. That is an imminent threat. It's legit that the local mayors and the governors refuse to protect Americans in. They have a duty to do it. It's an imminent threat, and they're not doing anything about it. The president wants to act. Legally, seems like he can. Now, I know that's gonna be debated. That's gonna be resolved for us, okay? But arguments on both sides. But I would imagine he can. For limited purposes, I mean rare circumstances. I would hope that this would be rare if we had another term of Biden. It might not have been. But this level of crime and this in the way that it is right now, we want to avoid all that. But the president wants to address it too. And if you do it, this is my opinion. If I were in charge, this is how I would do it. It would be my last resort. I would only do it using that state's National Guard. If I just had to do the National Guard, if I had to send war fighters on the streets of America, if I had to do that, it would be last resort used with that state's National Guard in a very limited scope for a very limited purpose under rare conditions, in and out, wham, bam, thank you, Stan.
Stan.
I didn't want anybody to take it the wrong way. It's a family show. All right, anywho. So that's not the case. That's why issues like Louisiana, when we have a Republican governor asking the federal government to do that, to put us in the same light as Chicago, to put us in the same light as Illinois, as California, as Oregon, the folks of Oregon, man, some good people. But Portland?
Some of them.
No, most. Portland? Come on now. That's not what Louisiana is. And for you to do that and to say, take the guard out of it. Hey, federal government, I'm a conservative. Please come do local and state issues for me, please. Can you do that? Oh, it's about the money. He can do that. That makes it right. The mess we're in this country with all these states so reliant on the federal government. This is how we get into it. It's just a little bit. It's a little bit. Inch turns into a mile, but the government never gives it back. It may feel good, Governor Landry, to be on the cool team, to say, well, you send National Guard here too. Okay, but that means something. Do you really, Juris Doctor Conservative, really believe that the federal government's going to give that power back? Does anybody believe that the federal government is going to get that back? Can anybody tell me when the federal government has ever given power back? When? Trump is trying to do it by deregulating some of this nonsense. It would be great if he had a Congress that would codify it. So you tell me when Washington has given power back. That's why it's so frustrating. I am not a man. Go look at my record on fighting crime. Ain't nobody gonna fight crime more than me. All right. But that's a local issue, and if that mayor can't do it, get the mayor out. But now we want the federal government. We don't even want the state. We don't even want the state to do it. We want the federal government. Do you want the federal government to start paving roads? They do that. How's it going? How's I-49 connector? I'm going to tell you, the biggest issue we had in local government were state roads. Federal roads were not that much better. But the bureaucracy with the federal DOT and the state DOTD, night and day. Dealing with federal bureaucracy is horrible. It is horrible. And if we invite it in to fight crime, you might as well fight it, bring it in to pave roads. What else? What other local issues? Y'all want me to do utilities? I read up all on that this weekend on utilities and China and all this stuff.
Can pay my insurance.
There's actually federal laws on insurance, so I don't know why they can't fit, but that's health insurance more so. All right, guys. I think I hear music. Yeah, I hear music. Okay. I'm hard of hearing. I'm so sorry. All right, guys. Thank you. Be right back, and we're going to cover. Ooh, I can't wait for this next one. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show, broadcasting live from the KPEL studios here in Lafayette, Louisiana. Also broadcasting live on Rumble. Let me see over there at rumble.com. Look up the Josh Guillory Show. My favorite part, we're going to open up them phone lines again. Let's go. I think I know this gentleman. Is this David? What's up, David?
Hello. Can you hear me?
I can. Let's see. There you go. What's up, man? Thanks for calling in.
Hey, good afternoon. Appreciate you and Jamie. Honestly, it's good to hear y'all. Hey, I've got a question, then a comment based on the answer. Are there any Republican dominant communities that are in the same situation as the ones that we're targeting to kind of get in order?
Oh, like cities like that had a crime issue that we're targeting?
Yeah, comparable to the places we're looking at. I'm just thinking about it. Are there any? I can't think of any.
Yeah, great question. I can't think of any either. It's all Democrat. That's why my issue is when we got to be careful. Here as Republicans, we shouldn't put ourselves in the same group as Portland, as Chicago,
yes, sir,
Los Angeles. Those are all Democrats.
Yeah, and so I guess that answer doesn't qualify me to have the second opinion, which would have been, why don't we target Republican areas and focus on them and make them better, and just let the Democratic section just kind of until you had enough scenario, like Dan Bongino used to say.
Well, let me say it like this, David. Well, Republicans usually, now you have rhinos out there, but Republicans, it's not an issue because that Republican mayor, if he or she is a conservative, will go fight crime, and you don't have to worry about that. So it's kind of like we don't have those examples most of the time, but you'll have a rhino that'll come in after a strong Republican, and it'll be a slow bleed, but it'll be a bleed nonetheless. But you can and then if we elect another rhino, well then maybe it would be grounds for Republicans being subject to that criticism, but never grounds to invite the federal government to come do local issues. That man, imagine if John Bel Edwards asked Biden to use the National Guard to enforce John Bel Edwards' mask mandate. Because I remember the mayor of Lafayette telling the governor to go take a hike. I remember the mayor of Lafayette telling the governor he ain't masking his kids or his society or his community, so go take a hike. Imagine if that would have been the precedent, though. Imagine if the governor would have said, yeah, all right, mayor, president, go take a hike. I got the National Guard. I got the president. The president's mobilized my own National Guard, even though I can do it for whatever reason I'm asking him to do it. And here you go. And now we have troops in Lafayette telling businesses to shut down and people can't go to church. So we got to be careful.
You kind of upset my stomach when you said imagine and John Bel Edwards in the same sentence.
Oh, I know.
Hey, true story. I used to work for the LED Fast Start program for several years, and a lot of the petrochemical industries. And he would show up with a big trailer with his big picture on the side, and man, he would come almost like he was doing an entry dance when he'd come into place. Just some of the people would just turn their head, and I'd walk away and go in another room. Couldn't say anything bad, But it was a puppet show, and it was just terrible. It was pathetic.
Now, David, I got a question.
Yes.
Do you think that we are going to be blessed with another president or another appearance by President DJT at the ARW Christmas meeting?
It's possible. I hear maybe his cost may be going up.
Yeah.
You get Biden on a discount, I hear.
Yeah, you can get. Oh no! Well, we're hearing the sirens. Hey, David, I love you, brother. Thank you for calling in. We can get Biden on a discount.
No, look. Prayers to him. He started some aggressive radiation treatment for his cancer. So
that's true.
We gotta pray for him.
Pray for him. All right, let's go to JD Vance again. This time with an interview he did with your boy Stephanopoulos.
Why you keep calling them people my boy? That's offensive, man.
You are in the media.
You're technically in the media.
I do a show.
Yes, that's part of that's the media.
No, this is a discussion with my dear audience. If anybody else wants to tune in, I can't control what outsiders do.
How you watch it?
Through Rumble. And
all right, which is all media platforms.
Well, that's how you call it.
Well,
saying,
George ain't my boy.
We just visiting. All right, George ain't his boy. That's fair enough. He's seen the light. All right, so, man, this was not shocking at all. But It went a little more heated than I thought.
I got some audio.
Okay, you want to play a little bit?
Yeah, let's
play a little bit.
We're gonna get this up for y'all right quick. Let's see if we. You don't hear that? It's hamster wheeling. It's coming.
Press pause. Okay, right. So J.D. Vance, he clashed with Stephanopoulos. This is yesterday. You can pull it up. And now check this out. This is after Stephanopoulos just rolls out there, accused border czar Tom Homan. Like, think about this. In an interview with the vice president, Stephanopoulos pauses and throws out there that border czar Tom Homan was accepting a $50,000 bribe, that he's guilty of a $50,000 bribe. An accusation, by the way, the White House has denied, and the FBI has already dismissed as false. Now, if you are of the belief, well, that's just Trump's FBI, that's why. You are fair to believe that, because now that is where we're at in the country. We have Republican DOJs and Democrat DOJs. We have Republican FBIs and Democrat FBIs now. Now, I still say we just have one FBI, and that is definitely the enemy of the people. They're either playing both parties or both parties are using them. Maybe it's a little bit of both. I don't know. Who knows?
I finally got it if you want it.
Well, hold on. So also, but really, that's more of a deeper thing. That's a mentality. You see what I'm saying? And for so long, these things were just said with authority. $50,000 bribe, like just assuming. You know, if you did that in the court of law, you would never be able to ask that question like that. You're speculating. You're inserting facts that have not been proven. You see, that's what the left and the media and rhinos do. They ask rhetorical questions. Basically, they make statements, they imply. And they just say it actually. They know. And then, they'll convince enough elites in the inside to file some kind of like indictment or something, not going anywhere. But they got the headlines or the famous, and the FBI is really famous for this, or infamous, whatever you want to say. We can neither confirm or deny. Are you investigating my neighbor? I can neither confirm or deny.
It's my favorite.
It's the same answer for no. I'm going to give you that answer. Yes. Because they're investigating all of us. We're all under investigation. You're just in line. If it hadn't come to you, you're just in line. Just wait till the next flavor of FBI comes. But trust me, we are all in the crosshairs of this federal government. And we've let it happen. In less than 100 years, we've let this happen. And now we're continuing it. Get rid of them. It's an evil empire. It's not American, not rooted in the Constitution at all. And if you don't want to get rid of them, which you should, revamp the FBI. Remind them of what their scope is. And if you can't do that, can you at least send those guys to go fight crimes in all these cities? And stop spying on parents at PTAs? Can you stop, investigating conservatives in the IRS or whatever, or tax or whatever else you do? Can you go send those guys to fight crime? Or are they just political prostitutes like the Louisiana legislative auditor? I'm just asking. I mean, we're abandoning our conservative principles right in front of our face. And we have people that claim to be conservatives doing it. We got to be careful. We got to be very careful. Now, let me give my disclaimer so I can be free to roam around the country. I've met a lot of great FBI agents. They're all wonderful individually, blah, blah, blah. The system is corrupt and broke, and it makes good people evil. And we have the means to fix the problem, but we choose not to. Republicans are in charge. Did anybody tell you that? Did anybody say that? Did anybody remember? Hey, down the hall. You. Yeah, no, the other one. Do you know that Republicans? Yeah, you did. Hey, they know Republicans are in charge. The Republicans have the House. They have the Senate. And doggone, they have the presidency. We could actually eliminate the FBI if you wanted to. Why not? You know why. You know why. The elites and the inside can use them. They're useful to them. Oh, and they'll fight crime on the side. They'll get a few guilty people. They really will. They'll get a few guilty people after swooping in and getting a whole bunch of people interviewed where they're the only ones writing down anything because they don't let you record. That should also be fixed in Congress, but that's the lawyer in me. All right, guys, stick around. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show, broadcasting live from the KPEL studios here in Lafayette, Louisiana. Also broadcasting live on Rumble. Certainly appreciate you guys over there. I see you. We woke up. That's good. All right. Let's see here. Jamie, you pulled up that clip. All right, so guys, look, this is just a small little clip from the interview from George Stephanopoulos and Vice President J.D. Vance. Yeah, just take it all in.
Actually not sure what the precise question is. Did he accept $50,000? Honestly, George, I don't know the answer to that question. What I do know is that he didn't violate a crime.
So you don't, what was caught on the tape, you're saying right now you don't know whether or not he kept that money?
I don't know what tape you're referring to, George. I saw media reports that Tom Homan accepted a bribe. There's no evidence of that. And here's, George, why fewer and fewer people watch your program and why you're losing credibility. Because you're talking for now 5 minutes with the Vice President of the United States about this story regarding Tom Homan, a story that I've read about, but I don't even know the video that you're talking about. Meanwhile, low-income women can't get food because the Democrats and Chuck Schumer have shut down the government. Right now, we're trying to figure out how to pay our troops because Chuck Schumer has shut down the government. You are focused on a bogus story. You're insinuating criminal wrongdoing against a guy who has done nothing wrong instead of focusing on the fact that our country is struggling because our government's shut down. Let's talk about the real issues, George. I think the American people would benefit much more from that than from you going down some weird left-wing rabbit hole where the facts clearly show that Tom Homan didn't engage in any criminal wrongdoing.
It's not a weird left-wing rabbit hole. I didn't insinuate anything. I asked you whether Tom Homan accepted $50,000, as was heard on an audio tape recorded by the FBI in September 2024, and you did not answer the question. Thank you for your time this morning.
He sounded like he's about to start crying.
That's how he ended the interview, by the way.
Steffi.
You didn't answer my question. Well, I actually did.
That aside, he is the Vice President of the United States. You are fortunate as an anchor, as a news person, to get the just the chance. One of us would die for the chance to be able to interview the Vice President. You're going to be rude to him?
Yeah, look, but they don't have any class anymore. They don't have it. Listen, they don't have, and it's not. That's going to sound so personal, and I don't mean it personally. I say this objectively. They have no class because they don't work in an environment anymore where decency is rewarded. They don't work. George Stephanopoulos does not work in a profession anymore that that values respect and couth. It's sad because at one point I didn't know his views, and that was good. It didn't jade anything. Maybe this has always been his views, and that could explain some things. But there is a reason. It's no accident that 21% of Americans believe what the media reports to be true. Now, take opinion out. That's not, if you asked, do you agree with this media outlet, you're going to get way more than 21%. The question in this particular national poll, we've covered it, other media, you can Google it, okay? It's not just a one-off. 21%, it's a couple months ago this poll was run. 21%, only 1 in 5 Americans believe what the media says to be true. And it's because of this environment. George Stephanopoulos now competes in a world where headlines prevail. Clickbait prevails. Selling ads looks different. Used to, these corporations could sell ads based on good journalism. And it's probably because the market was so small. You only had ABC, but you had the media, the CBS, NBC, and ABC, okay?
And Fox.
Not even Fox at the time. But then Fox comes in, and Fox is a different creature. Fox is a different creature. But even if you throw in Fox 4, okay? Not Fox News. That's a different. All right. So this is different now. There's podcasts. There's probably the most credible show on the airways, which is the Josh Guillory Show. But other than that, you have... you have a lot of opinions out there. You have a lot of people taking your space to sell ads, and that influences. So you want to try to get Renee? Oh, Renee, I was going to try, man. I'm sorry. I only had like a half a minute anyway. I went on a rant. There's a couple other people too. I apologize. But yeah, look, man, we're in a point where, J.D. Vance spoke truth, and he's just going to have to continue to do that. And I think the whole market on where we get our news, it's still changing. It's still evolving. We're not there yet. We haven't landed, but we're where we're at, if that makes sense. And we're just going to have to juggle all this stuff. We're going to have to juggle the Stephanopouloses of the world. We're going to have to juggle Fox News Channel versus CNN, podcasts, radio shows, talk show hosts. We're just going to have to balance all this until we, start to find reliable sources outside the Josh Guillory Show. All right, guys. I say that humbly with love and truth. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate you. App chatters over there at Rumble, man, you rocked it. All right, guys, be careful out there. May God bless you and be kind.